I think that most of us would agree that we don't love the idea of being under someone's control or maybe being told what to do. We all want to do what we want to do when we want to do it. It's part of us being human. But here's the deal. As much as we resist the idea of being under control, all of us are. We would probably never say it this way, but all of us are controlled in some way or another by our emotions, our moods, and our vibes. You know how I know this? Take, for example, this. Take away a cookie or a toy from a child, and sure enough, you're going to feel all the bad vibes real quick. But it's not just a child thing or a teenager thing. It's also an adult thing. Think about it. How many times have you seen the last few months, maybe an adult allow their emotions to get the best of them? If you've seen any TV or social media the past few months, you've seen all kinds of crazy people. People's emotions and their thoughts on the COVID outbreak, the social injustices, the elections, even this past week, the rioting of happening and taking place at the nation's capital. There's crazy everywhere. I'm sure you can remember or think of a time that you let your emotions get the best of you. Maybe you got into an argument with a parent and you said or you did something that got you grounded. Your anger took over, right? Or maybe you said some bad things about another person, maybe because jealousy creeped in and took over. Sometimes our emotions take control, and when they do, we don't always make the best decisions. I want you to think of a negative emotion that has the most control over you. Maybe it's anger, anxiety, jealousy, loneliness, or guilt. The list could go on. The reality is we all have one. The thing that I love most about Jesus is the things that he teaches is helpful for everyone. This topic of emotions is one of those things. Guys, we all have emotions, good and bad, though we tend to focus and look more and lean more into the bad ones. But check out what Jesus says in the Gospel of Mark, found in chapter 7, beginning in verse 14. He says, "Listen to me, everyone, and understand this. Nothing outside of a person can defile them by going into them. Rather, it is what comes out of a person that defiles them." Now, this is kind of like a biology lesson. What goes in must come out, right? But what comes out of a person's mouth, those are the things that defile them, which basically just means things that put them in conflict with God. We are in conflict with God when what comes out of our mouths hurts the people that God loves. And in case you didn't know, God loves everyone. Everyone. Everything Jesus taught really centered on the idea of how we love God by loving people. When Jesus talks about what puts us in conflict with God, he talks about how the source of our offensive words and our deeds inside of us. It's the emotions that we're trying to control and monitor. Now, this is what Jesus said in Mark 7, beginning in verse 21. It says, "For it is from within, out of a person's heart, that evil thoughts come." Everything begins with a thought. Jesus mentions murder, adultery, greed, malice, and folly. Every one of those things begins with a thought. And that last word, folly, sums it up. Folly is bad judgment, and your greatest regrets with friends and family are the results of bad judgment. Jesus is saying all that stuff starts in your thoughts and your emotions. For the next couple of weeks, we're going to start paying more attention to the world inside of ourselves, and we're going to try and form a habit of telling ourselves that it doesn't have to control us anymore. Now, here's the reality. Emotions aren't always bad. Emotions are part of being human, and they help us figure out what's right and what's wrong around us. But when they control us and make us do things that we don't want to do, when they keep us from living the full life that Jesus intends, then our emotions aren't helpful. Here's the deal. Remember this. Because of Jesus, emotions don't have to be the boss of you. Now, this doesn't come naturally. We live in a culture that doesn't help us see and talk about the emotions that we have going on inside of us in a healthy way. But here's the truth. It's good for all of us to learn how to name what emotions we're experiencing and then learn how to keep them from controlling us. Because when our emotions control us, we end up doing or saying things that hurt ourselves and even others. There's two things I want you to try. One, try to think of the top one or two emotions that you have the hardest time controlling. These are the emotions that control you more than you like. Maybe it's anger, or fear, insecurity, or jealousy, or greed, or anxiety. What's your one emotion that keeps showing up? Two, start checking in with yourself. At the end of each day, ask yourself, how am I really doing? As you look back on the day, pay attention to the emotions that were a big part of your day. Were they good or bad? If they were bad, are you holding on to them? Now, maybe was it bad because of a person or a situation? Pay attention to the emotions you were holding on to. Now, hear this. Emotions weren't meant to be the boss of us. Jesus was meant to be the boss of us. Check out what Jesus says in John 14. Peace I leave with you, my peace I give you. I do not give you as the world gives. Do not let your hearts be troubled, and do not be afraid. Because of Jesus, emotions don't have to be the boss of us. We all have emotions within us. And I want to encourage you to talk about them. Be real with someone. If you're a dude, I'm here. If you're a girl, Kaylee's here. Maybe go to your parent. And yes, your small group leader is a great resource for you. We are here. We are here online. We are here in person. If you're online, you can DM us right now. DM us. Guys, we all have to talk about this stuff. It's important.